I said now. Evelyn Price didn't shout. She didn't need to. The man standing beside the black SUV froze anyway. Rain hammered the Target parking lot, carts rattling, headlights flaring white across wet asphalt. People slowed down. A few stared. Nobody said a word. Evelyn adjusted her coat and looked past him, already annoyed. I don't have all night. Yes, ma'am. The man said calmly, and opened the back door. That was it. That was the moment the line was crossed. Evelyn stepped inside without another glance. She didn't see the way his jaw tightened. Didn't notice how still he stood before walking around to the driver's seat. Didn't ask why a driver was parked in a private spot, in a vehicle cleaner than most executive cars. The door shut. The SUV rolled forward. And the test began. Evelyn dropped her purse beside her and kicked off one heel. Her phone was already in her hand. Emails. Alerts. Missed calls stacked like threats. Highway, she said. I'm late. Yes, ma'am. His voice didn't change. Not bored. Not nervous. Just steady. That irritated her. Most drivers filled silence with noise. Stories. Complaints. This one didn't. She glanced up at the mirror. He wasn't watching her. Eyes on the road. Hands loose on the wheel. Like time belonged to him. Traffic crawled past a Walmart across the street. Bright lights. Long lines. A woman argued with an employee near the entrance. A kid tugged on her sleeve, hungry and tired. Evelyn looked away. People love creating their own problems, she muttered. The SUV slowed slightly. She frowned. Don't stop. He didn't. But he didn't speed up either. Something about that made her uncomfortable. Her phone rang. She answered without hesitation. No, she snapped. Pause. I'm not paying for their mistake. Another pause. They knew the risk. She ended the call and leaned back. You hear that? She said suddenly. Everyone wants understanding when they mess up, but discipline when someone else does. Yes, ma'am. That was all. She stared at the mirror again. You don't talk much. I listen. That answer landed wrong. Too thoughtful. Too clean. She huffed. Must be easy. Sitting back. Watching. Sometimes, he said. You learn more that way. Her jaw tightened. The SUV stopped at a red light. A man stood on the median holding a cardboard sign. His coat was thin. His hands were red from the cold. He nodded at cars that wouldn't look at him. Lock the doors, Evelyn said automatically. The driver didn't move. He's not approaching, he said. I didn't ask. Yes, ma'am. The light turned green. The man disappeared behind them. Evelyn exhaled. Good. She didn't notice the way the driver glanced back once more, measuring something. They turned onto her street. Clean. Quiet. Predictable. The SUV rolled to a perfect stop. That's fine, she said, reaching for the handle. Then she paused. You drive well, she added. Not reckless. Thank you. She stepped out, rain misting her hair. For half a second, she looked back. He met her eyes in the mirror. Not submissive. Not impressed. Just calm. She closed the door. The SUV pulled away. It didn't head back toward traffic. It turned underground. Concrete. Security gates. A private garage that didn't smell like oil or trash. The driver parked and cut the engine. Sat still. Then he took out his phone. A single message waited on the screen. Did she say anything? He typed one word. Enough. The next night, the SUV was waiting in the same spot. Same rain. Same target lights. Evelyn hesitated when she saw him. Then shrugged. At least you're on time. He opened the door. Yes, ma'am. She slid into the back seat. As the SUV pulled away, she didn't notice the second car easing out behind them. Black. Unmarked. Close enough to follow. Inside it, a man watched the SUV with interest. And smiled. Drivers wait outside. The security guard didn't lower his voice. He raised it. The automatic doors of the Walmart Supercenter slid shut behind him, sealing the words in the air like a verdict. Shoppers slowed. Someone laughed under their breath. A phone camera tilted slightly. Evelyn stopped walking. He's with me, she said. The guard finally looked at the driver. Once. Quickly. Like you'd glance at luggage. This area's restricted, he said. Executives only. The driver didn't speak. He didn't step forward. Didn't explain. Didn't correct anyone. He simply waited. Yes, ma'am, he said quietly. To Evelyn, not the guard. That single sentence made her stomach tighten. She checked her watch. 2 minutes late already. Cameras would be rolling inside. The regional director hated delays. It's fine, she said. I'll handle this alone. The guard stepped aside, satisfied. The driver nodded once and stepped back under the awning. Rain soaked into his jacket immediately. Evelyn didn't look at him as she walked inside. The conference room smelled like coffee and plastic banners. A long table, bottled water, smiles stretched just enough to pass for friendly. A banner on the wall read Community Partnership Announcement. Evelyn slid into her seat. A woman leaned over and whispered, "Your driver didn't try to follow you, did he?" Evelyn forced a smile. "No." "Good," the woman said. "They always listen." The presentation began. Slides flicked past. Charts, routes, cost reductions. A man in a Navy suit cleared his throat. "This partnership allows us to optimize delivery by restructuring labor." Restructuring. Evelyn leaned forward. "Define that." He smiled without warmth. "Reducing redundancies." Another slide appeared. Contract drivers. Temporary warehouse staff. Percentages replacing faces. Evelyn's jaw set. "This wasn't part of the agreement," she said. The man shrugged. "It's necessary." "For who?" she asked. "For growth." Outside, the driver stood near the entrance, rain dripping from his sleeves. A cart attendant struggled to push a long line of carts against the wind. The driver stepped forward and helped steady them. "Thanks," the attendant muttered. "Management doesn't notice us until something breaks." The driver smiled faintly. People notice more than they admit. Inside, the room shifted. The man at the head of the table leaned closer to Evelyn. His voice dropped. "If you push back now, we walk." Evelyn scanned the room. Nods. Tight smiles. No one met her eyes. "You're asking me to approve layoffs," she said. "We're asking you to be practical." She thought of the guard. The word staff. The driver stepping back without complaint. Her chest felt tight. "I need a minute," she said. She stood before anyone could respond and walked out. The rain hit her face hard. The driver straightened when he saw her. "They changed the deal," she said. He nodded. "That was likely." "You knew," she said. "I suspected." She laughed once. Short, sharp. "If I stop this, it's over for me." "And if you don't," he said, "it's over for them." A Walmart employee approached, holding out a cup of water. "You look like you could use this." Evelyn took it. Their hands brushed. The woman smiled and walked away. No recognition. No fear. Just kindness. Evelyn stared at the cup. Inside, applause erupted. They were moving on without her, making decisions like she wasn't even there. Evelyn's grip tightened. "If I walk away," she said quietly, "I lose everything I built." The driver met her eyes. "Calm. Certain. Then you'll finally know what it was built on." Her breath caught. She handed the cup back to the employee. Then she turned. The doors opened. "I'm withdrawing," Evelyn said loudly. The room froze. The man in the Navy suit stood halfway. "Evelyn, you're overreacting." "No," she said. "I'm refusing." Murmurs spread. "I won't sign off on a deal that saves money by crushing people who can't fight back." Silence. She didn't wait for permission. She walked out. Rain soaked her hair as she reached the curb. The driver opened the SUV door. She stopped before getting in. "Get me out of here," she said. "Yes, ma'am." The SUV pulled into traffic. Behind them, another car followed. Black. Unmarked. Close enough to matter. Evelyn didn't notice. But the driver checked the mirror and said nothing. "You embarrassed everyone in that room." The voice came through the phone sharp and controlled. No shouting. No anger. Worse than that. Evelyn stood barefoot in her kitchen, rain still dripping from her coat onto the tile. The house felt too quiet. Too clean. Like it was waiting to judge her. "I protected people," she said. A pause. Long enough to feel deliberate. "You protected your feelings," the voice replied. "That's not leadership." The call ended. Just like that. Evelyn stared at the dark screen, her hand shaking now. She hated that more than anything. Across the room, the driver sat at the small table, hands wrapped around a mug she didn't remember pouring. "They'll come for me," she said. "The board. The investors. All of them." "Yes," he said calmly. "They will." She looked up. "You're not even surprised." "No, ma'am." That word again. She opened her mouth to snap at him, then stopped. "You talk like this was inevitable," she said. He met her eyes. "Some outcomes don't change. Only how you meet them does." That answer landed heavy. The next morning arrived without mercy. Emails stacked faster than she could read them. Subject lines screamed urgency. Her assistant stood frozen in the doorway, pale. "The board called an emergency meeting," she said. "They want you there in an hour." Evelyn nodded. "Of course they do." The SUV was waiting outside. Same position. Same silence. As they pulled onto the freeway, her phone buzzed. Major investor questions Price's judgment. Her stomach dropped. They're already shaping the story, she said. The driver kept his eyes forward. Stories travel faster than truth. You've seen this before, she said. It wasn't a question. He didn't answer. The boardroom was colder than usual. Glass walls. Polished table. Faces set in stone. She took her seat. One chair beside her stayed empty. Someone smirked. Your driver didn't come up? He's waiting, Evelyn said. Another smile. Thin. Knowing. The chairman leaned forward. You acted without consensus. I acted with conscience. That's not your role. Evelyn straightened. Then maybe that's the problem. The room went still. We're voting, the chairman said. The word hit like a door slamming. Outside, the driver stood near security. The same guard from the night before glanced at him, then nodded respectfully. Sir. Just that. No edge. No command. The driver returned the nod. Inside, the vote moved fast. Hands raised. Eyes averted. No hesitation. The chairman cleared his throat. Effective immediately, your position is terminated. The words didn't echo. They didn't need to. Evelyn felt a strange calm wash over her. The kind that only comes after something breaks. She stood. You'll regret this. The chairman smiled. Unlikely. She walked out without looking back. Outside, the driver opened the SUV door. She didn't get in. She leaned against the door and laughed. Short. Cracked. I just lost everything, she said. He tilted his head slightly. Did you? Don't do that, she snapped. Don't soften it. I'm not, he said. I'm questioning it. She wiped her face. You don't even know what I gave up. I know exactly what you gave up, he replied. That made her pause. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She answered. Yes. A man's voice came through smooth and confident. Ms. Price, I'm calling about your recent decision. Who is this? A stakeholder, the man said. One who doesn't appreciate surprises. Evelyn's jaw tightened. Then you should have paid closer attention. A chuckle. You chose the wrong hill. She glanced at the driver. He was watching her now. Closely. The call ended. They're threatening me, she said. He nodded. I know. How do you keep knowing everything? She demanded. He took a step closer. Lowered his voice. Because this was never about the partnership. Her chest tightened. What are you talking about? He reached into his coat and pulled out a card. Plain. White. No logo. One name. She stared. Her breath caught. That's the investor, she whispered. He held her gaze. Calm. Unmoved. Yes. The world tilted. You let me treat you like nothing, she said. I let you treat me honestly. You tested me. I watched you. Her voice shook. You cost me my career. You chose to walk away, he said gently. Tears burned her eyes. I didn't know who you were. And that, he said, is why it mattered. Rain hit the pavement harder now. Cars passed. People moved on. Evelyn hugged herself, suddenly smaller than she'd ever felt. What happens now? She asked. He looked at her for a long moment. That depends, he said, on who you are when this becomes public. Across the street, a camera shutter clicked. Evelyn turned. A reporter stood there. Lens raised. Recording. And the story was already rolling. Ms. Price, over here. The reporter's voice cut through the rain. Camera up. Light blinking red. Evelyn stopped walking. For years, this moment had been easy. A quote. A deflection. A sentence polished enough to protect her reputation. She looked at Daniel. He didn't step forward. Didn't nod. Didn't rescue her. Good. I don't have a statement, she said calmly. Not today. The reporter frowned. You were removed from your position. Investors are calling your decision reckless. Evelyn nodded once. They're allowed to. Flash. Click. She turned and walked away. No spin. No defense. No performance. The days that followed were quieter than she expected. No meetings. No calendar alerts. No voice telling her where to be next. The silence was uncomfortable at first. Then honest. She stopped wearing heels. Started walking instead. The community center sat between a payday loan shop and a closed laundromat. Faded paint. A crooked sign. People lined up without complaint. Inside, no one asked who she was. Gloves are on the table, a volunteer said. That was it. She lifted boxes until her arms ached. Sorted food. Cleaned spills. Learned where things went by watching instead of ordering. A man thanked her for helping carry groceries to his car. He didn't recognize her. Didn't care. That night, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She set it face down. Daniel didn't come the first week. Not because he disappeared, because he never chased approval. On the 8th day, he walked in while she was taping a box shut. No suit. No presence that announced itself. Just another volunteer. You came back, he said. She nodded. I wasn't sure I would. Most people aren't, he replied. They worked side by side. Quiet. Equal. After closing, they sat on the steps outside. I thought you'd offer me something, she said. A job. A fix. He shook his head. Then you wouldn't know if this was real. She smiled faintly. You're exhausting. Yes. An article came out a week later. Former executive stays silent after sudden exit. The comments were cruel. Weak. Emotional. Unqualified. She read them once. Then closed the app. That evening, she showed up again. And again, she listened to stories she couldn't solve with money. Learn names. Learn patience. One night, an older woman squeezed her hand and said, You listen like you mean it. Evelyn swallowed. No one had ever said that to her before. Daniel watched without comment. One afternoon, he handed her an envelope. No logo. No letterhead. Inside was a single page. A board seat. No salary. No spotlight. Responsibility without recognition. If you say no, he said, nothing changes. She folded the paper carefully. I spent my life being served, she said. I don't want that anymore. He nodded. Then don't. She accepted. Months passed. The noise faded. The work didn't. When donors tried to control the mission, she walked away. When volunteers failed, she stayed and helped fix it. When people shouted, she listened. Daniel never intervened. He didn't need to. One evening, they walked past a familiar curb. Target. Same lights. Same street. A black SUV waited. Evelyn stopped and smiled. For a long time, she said, I thought that car defined you. Daniel shook his head. It never did. She pulled the keys from her pocket and tossed them toward him. Your turn, she said. I trust you. He caught them, looked at them, then handed them back. Let's walk. They did. Side by side. No driver. No passenger. No test. Just two people who learned the same lesson from opposite sides of the glass. She mistook him for a driver. He said nothing. And in that silence, she finally learned how to listen. And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe to my channel Restory for more emotional billionaire dramas.